What is going on, guys? It's Stab, and today we are back with week 1 of season 3 of the Stab League, taking on Jim and the Carolina Hurricanes. Very excited for this game. Very big deal for us to get off to a 1-0 start. To your top, you will see the team we project Jim to bring to the game, as well as the 6 we are rolling with on my side on the bottom. As far as the team we are projecting Jim to roll in here with, includes Mega Metagross, Rayquaza, Zero Aura. Those 3 are pretty given. Hippowdon, Primarina, and Alolan Muk, just to check the gear a little bit better. Without further ado, let's hop over to the battle and figure out, if we got this team predicted correctly, and how we actually did the game. I'll be right back. Okay, as you guys see, we do have our teams here, myself and Jim. As far as the game team preview here, Jim brought most of what I thought he would bring. Well, actually, all of these things are things that I thought he could bring, but we did get some things wrong. There is no Hippowdon, there is no Alolan Muk, and there is no Primarina. So that, all those 3 of those things are very important. They mean a couple different things. First of all, he didn't bring Hippowdon or Heatran, so that means he's not getting rocks today, and that means whatever we choose to lead with is not going to be pressured immediately by him getting his own rocks up, and a big problem for us in the future. He did not bring the Alolan Muk, so Magearna has an easier time. And then lastly, he did not bring that Primarina, so Scolipy's not as pressured to set up, and it's a much freer time. As far as the individual mods matchups, he doesn't have a ground resist outside of Buzzwole and Tapu Bulu, which are also beaten by Crocodile, and then his only ground immunity is Rayquaza. Mewtwo, just kind of goes in after some chip damage / a setup on Mega Metagross. Potentially need to weaken the Buzzwole a little bit, and then also, figure out the set on the Rayquaza. Figure out, if it's Yachi Berry, we gotta be careful of that, and then, just get some chip damage on Zero Aura and figure out its set. Other than that, we should be okay. Scolipy can also go in once Mega Metagross is either weakened or down, or if we get a Swords Dance up, Mega Metagross won't matter. Pretty decent matchup for Scolipy, just gotta weaken the Buzzwole a little bit. The Porent should be right there to check the Mega Metagross, and then Magearna, like I mentioned, has a very good situation now that we don't have to worry about overly checking things like Heatran and Hippowdon, which pretty much are bad news for Magearna. And then lastly, Arcanine just kind of goes in. He has very limited fire resist. His only fire resist that he actually brought today was the Rayquaza, and because there's no Hippowdon, he won't be pressured to avoid those earthquakes and take sand damage and all that shit. Anyway, as I mentioned in the team preview, the team building, the team preview kind of thing, plan is to lead off with Crocodile and just kind of adjust from there. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the match. Alright, so Jim is issuing that challenge, nice and blue shirt with a bird on it. No birds on Jim's team today, but I guess he's representing the bird gang. Lead off Crocodile, like I said, can get him the Intimidate off on anything else. He leads off with Zero Aura, pretty obvious because he didn't have a rocker, so I figured his fastest Pokemon was probably his best lead. Gonna drop the Intimidate here. If it's physical, we should find out right now. Now, I didn't think he'd stay and let me Earthquake him, Stomping Tantrum / Earthquake, but I figured rocks were pretty free, and rocks are going to be able to chip down a lot of his team because his only thing to pressure hazard removal wise is the Kamala, and Kamala gets beaten down by a lot of my team. He goes straight into Buzzwole, which is just fine. Don't really know what this Buzzwole is yet. The fact that he went hard probably means he predicted that I would just go for my rocks. Either way, Arcanine is a very safe switch to this, especially since I don't think he would Earthquake the ground type at so early in the game, reveal that, and kind of make me play my Arcanine around that. So Arcanine, pretty free switch in. I can get the Intimidate off, and we can figure out what he wants to go for. He ends up going for Hammer Arm, as you guys will see in just a second, and that leads me to believe that he's definitely a more bulky variant. He actually goes for Ice Punch to try and nail my Crocodile. -1 Ice Punch would have done a pretty significant amount just because I don't have a lot of bulk today, but like I said, Arcanine. Very safe switch in, and we know that he has Ice Punch, so that is something we can mark down. Wi-Fi is a little bit different because you gotta keep track of all of the things that Showdown kind of babies people and kind of keeps track for you. So we know this thing has Ice Punch. Because I know it has Ice Punch, I figured Scolipede was a pretty good switch in, just because I didn't think he would go for Earthquake. I thought a possibility of him going into Kamala to spin my rocks away was a more likely play. So he actually switches to Rayquaza, which is great because it takes that chip damage, the 25%. Could be very crucial in the later on in the game. And here, I decided to go straight for the Rock Slide. I know there's no way he can outspeed me. This is actually sort of a recreation, as I missed there as he goes for Dragon Dance. Basically what happened in the original game was he didn't have the Mega slot checked, so he couldn't Mega Evolve as a Metagross. Just had to recreate this part. In the initial game, I actually did hit that Rock Slide. So his plan here is to go for Dragon Dance again to, simulate that hit. But luckily for us, we actually end up getting a flinch. So basically, no harm, no foul. I did have an extra turn of speed boost, but as you're going to see here, he's going to go into his Metagross on this next turn, as I believe I just go for the Poison Jab. A Lord play would have been to go for the Sword Stance, predicting the switch out from to save his Rayquaza. Rayquaza is just slightly out of range of Stealth Rocks for the next switch in, so he will be alive. I do go for the Poison Jab. But as I was saying, I could have gone for Sword Stance, but I didn't want him to potentially go for Dragon Ascent and kill me. So, much safer play, just go for Poison Jab and then deal with it from there. Obviously, I can't really do anything this Metagross. I'm going to go to Vaporeon first just to make sure he Mega Evolves. There's no way in hell he's going for straight up Thunder Punch when I can easily have just gone into my Crocodile. So as you're going to see, he goes for gets the nice and powerful Silver and Gold Mega Metagross. I like that shiny so much. But he goes for the Meteor Mash and thankfully does not get the attack raise. And on this next turn, I chew that very, very well. So that means he's not max attack infested. Even though, Metagross is powerful, I thought that he would be, a more bulky variant. It looks like he is going to be just that today. He actually withdraws himself, as I'm plan is to go into Crocodile here, which works out fine because he actually goes into the Zero Aura to check the Water type with this Electric type. Takes that nice and crucial chip damage. He's now 100% in range of HP ground from my Arcanine, as well as some stronger attacks like Drain Punch from Mewtwo. But anyway, just going to Killer Croc, get that nice Intimidate off, and he could go for close combat. That is a move that Zero Aura gets, but he actually chooses to go back in his Buzzwole, as I believe I just fire off his Stomping Tantrum. I wasn't really afraid of a -1 in Zero Aura. I don't think Zero Aura is that strong, but definitely -1, no threat whatsoever. I actually get a crit here, not that it matters too much, because as you can see, Buzzwole is bulky, and I actually choose that. A couple things actually happen here. Like I said, I get that crit. I reveal my Life Orb as he reveals to be a Left Force variant. We've already seen Ice Punch. He definitely is a fighting move. He could be sub, he could be bulk up. Just don't know what his other coverage is right at this point. So what I decided to do is I know that he's probably not going to go for Earthquake, and even if he goes for Earthquake, it's -1, so Arcanine should be able to chew. And he actually goes straight for the Hammer Arm. Hammer Arm, like I said, pretty much confirms a bulky variant of Buzzwole. But at the same time, it probably doesn't confirm bulk up because he actually loses defense. No. Okay, that's superpower. My bad. He's going to lower his speed, which pretty much does confirm that he is a bulky variant with possible bulk up. But as you can see, Arcanine chews these hits pretty well. And it pretty much confirms that he probably doesn't have the Earthquake, because he either has Earthquake plus Bug Stab, or he has Bug Stab and Bulk Up. So, not really afraid of Buzzwole at this point, and Arcanine is proving to be pretty much on an ice switch every single time. I'm just going to go out to Scolipede, figure that he might go for Hammer Arm again. He might also switch out to his Kamala. I feel like the pivot from Buzzwole into Kamala on Arcanine is pretty obvious / a decent play to make, and sure enough, he actually does that. Does take some chip damage from the rocks, and there is no move that he can knock me out with. Even if he's Choice Bear return, I will live, and even if he goes for Rapid Spin, that's kind of bad for the Rayquaza, but the Rayquaza is still in range of the rocks anyway, and a Swords Dance, as far as the longevity of the game, is a much better play because it puts me in a position to threaten the Metagross on a potential switch in. So he goes for that return, and he is 100% Choice Banded right here. Kamala with a Choice Band is actually very, very strong. So, get on my Swords Dance. I wanted to go for Earthquake to potentially catch the Metagross, but based on calcs, Kamala is very bulky, so the only thing it was a range of, even at +2, was a Poison Jab or, a Z Stomping Tantrum, but I didn't want to burn my Z move when I could potentially use that to knock out the Metagross, later on in the game. Goes into Rayquaza. I believe I just clicked Poison Jab here. The reason is, he lives on 5 HP, by the way, but the reason I clicked Poison Jab is I figure if he has Extreme Speed, he'll go for it now. I haven't seen item yet, so he could be Choice Banded, and if he locks himself to Extreme Speed, I can pretty much eat up that hit with my Magearna after Scolipede dies. So that is going to be the plan. Scolipede goes down. Scolipede put in a lot of work, killed the Kamala, pressured the Rayquaza, so did a very nice job today. Thank you, Mama Jolt. Thank you. Going to my Magearna here. He goes for an Earthquake, proving that he's not choiced, but he's also not Life Orb. So should be able to eat this up pretty easily. And sure enough, max HP, easily eating that off. Now, I have a couple plays here. I could have knocked this thing out with the Volt Switch, but I didn't want Metagross to come in and potentially get a raise with the Meteor Mash. So I'm just going to Volt Switch out, kill this Rayquaza, and then I thought about it for a couple of minutes on what I actually want to do as far as the double down momentum switch here, and I decided that he doesn't match up well against Crocodile as a lead, so it's basically a reset of turn 1 where I'm going to go with Crocodile to lead off, and he's going to go into his Buzzwole and take some damage from the Stealth Rock, and I honestly thought about revealing the Sludge Bomb here, but I need to keep it safe for the top of Bulu later. And like I said, Arcanine comes in on this thing every single time. So no worries here. Just gonna switch to Arcanine, get off the Intimidate. I believe he is double intimidated because I did get my Intimidate off with my Crocodile. So right now we're dealing with -2 Buzzwole, I do believe. He goes for the Hammer Arm, proving that the only way he has to touch Arcanine is indeed Hammer Arm. And as you see, Buzzwole is still really strong, as that does a quite solid amount of damage. Speed drops and all that don't matter. Get some health back with my leftovers. He's having a really tough time at this point in the game dealing with my double Intimidate core, because Arcanine comes in on this, and pretty much Crocodile comes in on everything else. So he gets his leftovers recovery, and then I believe here what I want to do. I believe I'm Morning Sun up, because my thinking is I can use this to deal with the Metagross later. At full or near full health, I can easily take an Earthquake from that, and pretty much everything else that Metagross would want to go for, barring like Zen Headbutt would, bounce off, or not bounce off maybe, but put it at a range where Arcanine could still live. He goes for that Hammer Arm, very insistent. He doesn't have a lot of switches to Arcanine at this point, so it makes sense on why he keeps attacking. Trying to catch the Crocodile, trying to catch the Metagross, I guess. But I'm just going to stay in. I know I can wall this thing to hell and back. And thought about potentially going for Will-O-Wisp, trying to catch the Metagross. But it doesn't make sense because he hasn't seen my move pool, and either of my moves actually hit Metagross super effectively. So, just fire off a Flamethrower. I only have 4 special attack investment, but Arcanine is hella strong, and Buzzwole's special defense is ass. So, we're just going to blast this with a Flamethrower, and it will go down for Arcanine's first kill of the season. Great job. Now that this thing is down, Arcanine is even more free, because this is what it was potentially designed to check. Everything else that Arcanine was built for did not actually come to the game. He goes to Zero Aura here. I figured there's no way in hell he's going for a coverage move here. He has to blast off with potentially Plasma Fist. That's the strongest move that Zero Aura actually gets, which means my Intimidate Crocodile is a fine switch in here. Killer Croc coming back in. Killer Croc versus Weasel Man. Gonna be Killer Croc every time because, as you see here, he goes for the Plasma Fist. Being a ground type, of course, we take absolutely nothing from that move, and the way he switches out here makes me believe that he's indeed a choice abandoned variant. So he withdraws, gotta go fast, more like gotta get the hell out, and he goes into Blue Steel, which is Metagross. I believe I'll just fire off a very safe Earthquake, because at this point, even if he comes into Bulu, damage from Stomping Tantrum plus Sludge Bomb will knock out Bulu every time, and I do outspeed Tapu Bulu, which at this point, I'm not really sure what the Tapu Bulu set is, but I doubt it's Scarf, so that's the only potential threatening set as far as this. Here, I actually make a misplay. What I should have done was potentially sack my Arcanine and got the Intimidate off. What I actually do is decide that I'm going to try and get a kill a Crocodile, and, you know, the Hex Gods make sure to remind Stab that it's a really bad play to do what I just did. They give him a crit and an attack raise. So now I'm pretty much forced to go into Daddy Dingo, lower him back to neutral as far as attack boosts, and I lose my Crocodile. The reason, as you'll see later in the game, I'll explain why the play was a little bit of a misplay, and why we should have kind of flipped things. He goes for a Toxic here, so he doesn't have Earthquake. That's really, okay, that's really interesting. But not a big deal, as we're just going to be able to blast him with another Flamethrower. The flames are out today. Daddy Dingo going in. Gonna kill off this Metagross, and now he's very limited in the amount of threats he can do. I believe at this point he has Tapu Bulu and Zero Aura left, which kind of gets checked by the rest of my team. So we're looking pretty good here. Mega Metagross is gonna go down. Mega Metagross didn't get any kills, I believe. So that's really nice. Yeah, it didn't get any kills. Gonna take some toxic damage, which at this point he goes with Olay, the Bullman. Tapu Bulu looking nice and shiny right there. Don't know what this is, but I figure there is very little ways that he can actually kill me. Maybe like Choice Band and Stone Edge, or like Z-Move Stone Edge, but at least we'll know what his set is at that point. Other than that, Bulu doesn't actually get Earthquake, so I'm not really afraid of any moves. And sure enough, I expected him to have a Nature's Madness eventually weaken me. He actually misses. Don't really know how much that actually mattered, just because Arcanine would have been at a lower amount of health, but I don't think I'm going to stay in against Zero Aura anyway. Right here, just missed out on the KO. He does get the Grassy Terrain and Leftovers combo back. What I was really afraid of is because I don't have any switch-ins to Choice Banded Plasma Fist anymore. I didn't really know how much that was actually do to the rest of my team, and I potentially, as a failsafe, still needed this Arcanine in the back to come and intimidate if things got out of hand. Like I said, I'm expecting Choice Band. I think it's Choice Band, probably like 90% at this point, but I haven't confirmed that, and if it's a potential worked up set, we could be in trouble. So I'm gonna go. So plan here is to go into McGearn and predict to him to Nature's Madness again, which he does, and then live a Horn Leech because I'm bulky and he can't, and he clearly isn't Choice Banded or probably offensive for that matter. But I should be able to live, get a nice Volt Switch off for slow momentum into my Mewtwo. So that's the plan. As you see here, he connects in the Nature's Madness this time, does half like it normally does, and then he goes for the Horn Leech, as I do get some Grassy Terrain recovery, which I think might have actually mattered depending on rolls. But as you're going to see here, he goes for that Horn Leech. Tapu Bulu and Grassy Terrain still really strong. I live on 15, and I am able to get that Volt Switch off. So, gonna Volt Switch into my Mewtwo. Like I said, it's Prometheus. It's time. It's time to end the game. It's time to unleash the Mewtwo. So, Mewtwo coming in, just a little bit more, just 2 mons more, and coming in. I actually made this pressure instead of a nerf, but not that it actually matters. But I thought about several plays here where I could potentially bulk up because I didn't remember what amount of health the Zero Aura was actually at. So I thought about bulk up, but then I was like, if I bulk up and he goes for Nature's Madness, he could potentially get me to a point where, you know, if he crits me, he could kill me with choice banded plasma fists and yada 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 yada. So at the end, I just decided to go for a nice and safe ice punch and drop this thing. This is gonna kill about 10 Tapu Bulus here, and we are looking very, very nice. Prometheus with one more kill of the gods here, and then his last mon is, of course, the Zero Aura. Gotta go fast, gotta get up out, gotta get this win, and as you're gonna see here, he fires off, he takes that rocks damage, not that it matters at this point, but he goes for the nice and banded Plasma Fist, and as you're gonna see here, this is not, I didn't get a bulk up. This is not boosted in any way. I do have a little bit of bulk, a little bit of defensive investment, but this thing bounces off of Mewtwo. Oh, wow. Zero Aura, you are a disappointment. And I'm just going to go for the Drain Punch, get all that nice and juicy health back, and we're going to take this game 4-0. So, yeah, I'll wait till it fades the little screen here, but like I said, we do pick up the nice 4-0 victory against Carolina Hurricanes, JMarshadow, Season 3, Ubers and Company. And yeah, I was overall very pleased with how my team performed. I think that, the defensive core I had with Arcanine and Crocodile was just really, and then Vaporeon as well, was just really hard for Jim to break. He didn't bring Primarina, which meant that he couldn't threaten two of those mods that I just mentioned. He didn't get Hippo in here, so defensively he didn't have much responses from my offense, and he didn't pressure me continuously with rocks. So I feel like if Jim played well for the team that he had, but he didn't have the right team to take me on today, and I think that's ultimately what was the difference in today's game. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's battle, leave a comment, leave a like, the usual, and subscribe if you have not. Anyway, guys, I'm Stab, and I will see you guys next week. Next week, we have a bye, so week 2, we don't actually have a game. I'll probably have some, alternative upload for that. And then week 3, we are taking my man Balfrey and the Colorado Agrons. I'll see you guys then. See you guys. I am out.